Welcome to a new video. In this video we will discuss the Howland circuit or the Howland current source. We will see that we have now a voltage to current conversion using this circuit. This will be our example number 1 where we discuss the voltage to current conversion circuit. We will also use the other configurations of the circuits to make the transition from the voltage to current. And this is actually also called a converter, this circuit. And we will see that step by step in an example worked out in the calculations and also verify these in the SPICE simulations. Okay, now we have this circuit. Let me first briefly discuss where this circuit comes from. This is invented by Bradford Howland in early 1960s. It's an MIT professor, so he worked on it and came up with this circuit. There are in this also case different configurations, different versions of this Howland current source. So this is now, let's say, the basic circuit which is then provided by Howland. The one disadvantage of this circuit is that it requires very balanced resistor ratio. So we will see what it means when we analyze the load current here in this circuit. Okay, let's all see now our objective. Our objective is, given the voltage to current converter circuit, which is now a Howland circuit, we'd like to determine the expression of the load current, which is shown here. So this is going through this RL in terms of Vs. Now we have here 4 resistors, R1, R2, R3 and R4. We will see shortly what the value of these resistors must be. And we have here one voltage source. It can be a DC, it can be an AC voltage source. So we apply it here, and then we have an op-amp which is considered to be ideal. There are also versions where you have this input at this node and this node is grounded. That is also fine, that works also fine, but then you have a sine inversion in your current. Okay, let's see how we can determine the expression here. So let's look at our calculations, but of course we will see what we can do in our circuit. Because we have an op-amp ideal, we can say that the currents entering the op-amp in this node inverting and the non-inverting terminal is 0. This is handy because we can use that later for our analysis. And we can designate some nodes here. We have here node X, and we have here node Y, and we have also here the node P, so at this node. Okay, now we can make the current arrows. We can say this current going in here, I call this I1. I call this current coming here, I call this I2 from right to left. And there is also here the current IL, which is our load current, of course. So now we can say the following. Now the Vx, which is this voltage node, is equal to Vy. Why? Because we have a negative feedback in our op-amp. Because we have here negative feedback, the op-amp tries to make this node X equal to that node. Okay, that will be useful later. And we have also the situation of IL is equal to I1 plus I2. That's actually shown here. So IL is equal to I1 plus I2, but there's also this current here which is 0, so we can only consider these two currents. So no current flows into the op-amp. Now we can now set up the equation from here using the Ohm's law. We can say I1 is here from this node to that node. That voltage is Vs minus Vy, that's shown here, over R1. And this current is Vp minus Vy over R2, that's shown here. Now we have here, let's say 2 unknowns, Vy and Vp. We don't know yet what it is, so we need to move on. And we can also divide the fractions in 2 parts here, and we have now here 4 fractions. That will be useful later, so you will also see the reason why I'm doing this. I also see the Vy over R2 here and Vy over R1 here, so I can collect them together. And now we have here some expression which is easily readable, and we will see how we can get rid of this Vp. So we need to replace this Vp. So we need another equation. But if I look at my circuit, I can say the following, and I call this equation number 1. I see here the non-inverting amplifier action. Now if I go from node Y to node P, looking at this node voltage, and if I go to that one, that is actually a non-inverting amplifier. So that means I have then Vp is equal to 1 plus this resistor over the resistor here, so R4 over R3, times the Vy, because that's the voltage I apply here. this resistor here will not have any effect here because I'm only looking at the voltage here. So I can use this formula, which I now call equation number 2, to substitute that in equation number 1. So because I have here the Vp. And that can be replaced by an expression where you have the Vy. Now that will be of course very helpful because we have already something which is a Vy. So let's do that. So this expression will be then Vs over R1 still. We need to do something about that. And we have here the parts with the Vy, and we have also this 1 over R2 times the equation number 2 here, which is then shown here. Now we can now work out the parentheses here, so 1 over R2 times 1, and then 1 over R2 times R4 over R3, and then both of them of course times Vy. Then we get this situation. I also worked out the parentheses here, so you can see minus 1 over R1 times Vy minus 1 over R2 times Vy, and then you see here 1 over R2 times Vy, and then R4 over R2 and times R3 times Vy. So we have a lot of terms with Vy, but you see something that this term and this term will cancel each other out. That's fine. So we have actually these 3 terms now. And now you see here an expression of the load current in terms of the input voltage or source voltage Vs and R1. And there's also a term here which is only dependent on some resistors and this voltage at this node Vy. So what do we do with this expression? Because we need to have some current here which is independent of all the resistors here except one, for example, just to control it, and I also need to control that by my input voltage. Now I can rewrite this expression by Vs over R1, that's shown here, plus this term in total, of course Vy outside the parentheses. Now I have this one, R4 over R2 times R3 minus 1 over R1 I mean. Now in order to have the dependency here of the load current on the input voltage and some parameter, one of the parameters here, I need to get rid of this second term. So this must be completely 0. In order to make this 0, I need to make this term 0. So that means this part needs to be made 0 such that the load current, IL, is not dependent on the load voltage, which is this node voltage Vy. So that means I need to make this mathematically 0. So that means we need this expression. So how can I make this 0? Now you can now work this to the right side. So you have now R4 over R2 times R3 is equal to 1 over R1. And if I meet, if this condition is met, then I have actually a situation I want, and then this is then 0. You can also write this in a different form by multiplying the left side and the right side by R2. Then you have this expression. Then you see the ratios. Actually, what I said in the beginning is very important. So you see here R4 over R3. This ratio must be exactly the same as the R2 over R1. So this ratio, let's say this is 10 kilo ohms and this is 1 kilo ohm. This is then 10. I also need the ratio, exact same ratio here from R2 to R1. Of course, you can take all the 4 resistors the same. Then you have 1 is equal to 1. That is also fine. That will also satisfy this equation. So you need to really have very accurate resistors here to come up with this condition. But if you don't have that, then you might have some errors in your actual load current. Okay, what does it mean? Now, if I meet this condition, I have then this is 0, so I only have left this IL is equal to Vs over R1. That means my load current is only dependent on my input voltage or source voltage and R1. That's fantastic. So that's actually a nice result. Okay, now let's now see our results in the simulations also. Again, we need to use this equation and also satisfy this condition here. So the simulation results, first we have our circuit here. We keep our R1, R2, R3 and R4 here all 100 kilo ohms. So that will satisfy this equation. So I just picked all of them the same. And I have here selected my load resistor to be 1 kilo ohm. So if I look at my equation, I can then calculate my load current if I also know my Vs, which is my source voltage. And this is now the plot. So you see here in blue my input voltage, which is a sine wave, pure sine wave of 10 volts peak, so 20 volts peak. And I have a frequency of 100 Hertz. And I see here in red my output or my load current, which is 100 microamps peak and minus 100 microamps in the minimum. So 0.1 amps, 0.1 milliamps, and minus 0.1 milliamps here. Is this correct? Now let's see here, because we do Vs over R1, and R1 is in this case 100 kilo ohms. So if I calculate that again here in the formula, 10 volts over 10 to the power 5, which is our 100 kilo ohms, that will result in 10 to the power minus 4 amps or 100 microamps, which is also seen in our sine wave. And what we also see is it is not inverted, so our output current or load current is in phase with our input voltage, so it is not reversed. But if you apply this Vs here at this node and then ground this node, you will have an inverted version, but the same value peak for our load current. Let's see also, so this is correct, so we have verified this. Let's see also the situation where we change the load resistor and see the effect of the load current. Because we said if this condition is met, then this is the load current, which is only dependent on the R1 and nothing else. Of course, everything is also satisfied here by this equation. So if I change my RL, the load current should not change. Again, I make this circuit, again the 100 kilo ohms for all of these 4 resistors, and I'm now going to change or sweep my value of the R load resistor. Now the results are shown here. Again, my blue input Vs, 10 volts peak, so 20 volts peak with a 100 hertz frequency. So I go here with a brown value, which is my load current, for RL of 100 ohm. So I go down to 100 ohm. Where you see here the peak is 100 micro and the minimum is minus 100 microamps. So this is the peak value. Here is then 200 microamps. But if I go to a load resistor of 200 ohms, I see again the same. And for 500 ohms, I see again the same. For 1 kilo ohm for the load resistor, I see the same. And for 2 kilo ohm, I see the same. So there's not changing at all in the load current, despite I'm changing the load resistor actually here drastically. So again, the conclusion, load resistor does not affect the load current. That's actually fantastic. Again, we can now make the load current here depending on what we want. And then if this is changing, your load current will not change. All right, that was our example concerning the Howland current source. We have discussed how we can derive this formula and what kind of a condition we need to meet in order to use this formula. And also looked at the effect of the load resistor for our load current. If you have any questions, comments, please let me know. I will try to answer them as soon as possible. See you next time in another video.